Excellent. We'll give you opportunities to ask questions throughout, kind of at the end of every couple of slides. If you have got anything, I'll ask and just leave a few seconds for any questions that anybody might have. I'm sure if you've got a question, at least one other person has probably got the same question. So it's that old adage: there's no such thing as a stupid question. Please don't be shy. Feel free to ask whatever you want, and I'll answer it as best as I possibly can. And like I say, I'll give you opportunity at the end as well to ask any questions you might have. So with that, let's crack on. Right. So yeah, that's just starting off with a little promo video. That's actually promoting the new kit sponsor, the new kit make. So, but obviously just sets the tone, shows kind of what a professional standing the club's got from a perspective of the kit itself, but also the marketing of it and the standing that it's got. If any of this does seem like it's in a bizarre order or anything like that, I didn't do the presentation, although it is quite thorough and it is quite good. So, but yeah, I always think that's a little bit of a strange way to start. But I just want to crack on, obviously, first by elaborating on and telling you a little bit more about the club itself. You may have had a look on the website. You may know a few bits already. There might be some things you're unaware of. But I just want to give you a little bit of background, tell you a little bit more about the club, and like I say, the job role and the opportunity itself. So I'm going to start with the club itself. So I have been involved with the club for about 6 years. I'll come on to kind of how I got involved. I am, by the way, based in the UK, so I'm not over in the US. Um, when I first got involved with the club, we were a satellite club for LA Galaxy. So we were called LA Galaxy Orange County. We had all LA Galaxy kit. So it was an affiliation with the club. Prior to that, the club existed and was actually called Irvine Kickers. Irvine is where the club's actually based in terms of its head office, a place in Orange County, if any of you have ever been there. Since LA Galaxy, we affiliated with Liverpool. So up until last year, for about the 3 years previous, we were Liverpool's International Academy in Southern California. So again, official partners wearing full Liverpool kit. So any Liverpool fans, apologies that you missed out on that, but I'm sure if you've got any Man United or Everton fans, you'll probably be delighted with that news. So yeah, the reason we actually came away from Liverpool was obviously they have kind of they've got international academies all over the world. I think 26, 27, something like that. And part of their terms and conditions, there was just a couple of things in there that we weren't entirely comfortable with. One of them was to do with our women's team, which they didn't want us to have separately and didn't want us to operate while I was still affiliated with them. So it was all amicable. But as we were already kind of a well-established, apologies, that's my dog. As we were already kind of a well-established club, obviously the branding and the image of Liverpool helps, but we already had a strong player base, lots of clubs running. So it's been a fairly seamless transition. And we obviously our new identity, we rebranded as SoCal Reds. So SoCal, obviously Southern California. Reds obviously kind of representing the colour of the club and the kit, as you saw from the YouTube video a minute ago. And a little bit of thought that's went into the logo and the different things that it represents. So the lone seagull, symbol of ambition, of a willingness to fly and be different, which I suppose represents the fact that we decided to no longer be part of those bigger organisations and go it on our own. The sunset reminding us to enjoy the moment, to reflect on the achievements, to look ahead to the next day. Apologies if this sounds a little bit corny, but I mean, like I say, it does show the identity of the club and the thought that went into creating this identity and this brand. The green to desire to show growth and embrace personal and professional development. The red for passion, the driving force that fuels athletes, unwavering dedication and love for the sport that inspires individuals to push their limits, strive for excellence, and experience the pure joy of playing. And yellow is for the energy, and the California sun, um, which is definitely an added bonus of this opportunity. The pulsating heartbeat that propels players through each game, igniting their movements with relentless vigor and fueling the excitement of the game. Like I say, I'm sure you will, the next slide you'll see, but in terms of organisations, not just football clubs, but having their own identity and their own strap line and their own core values. Anybody worth their salt these days very much has that for their players and their staff and their employees and their customers or whoever it might be to kind of buy into, and understand what they're part of on a greater scale. And certainly that's what we're trying to do here with SoCal Reds. So our why. So the vision, creating valuable life lessons, unique opportunities, and extraordinary experiences by committing to 10 out of 10 experiences for every player, utilising parent surveys to guide our decision making, to provide the best soccer development program in Southern California with the most complete pathway to the highest levels of US soccer. Core values, like I just alluded to. So all organisations these days have them, and will do training on them and make sure they're embedded in everything that their staff deliver, and make sure that everything they're doing is aligned to these values. So core values for the club: ambition, taking risks, learning from honest mistakes, commitment, hard graft and continuous self-improvement, dignity, honesty and integrity, and unity, bringing the best out of each other. Fantastic core values, and I think applicable to any coach worth their salt. I've been coaching for over 20 years. One thing that I absolutely love about coaching is you are always learning. I will deliver recruitment days where people who've only been coaching for a year, 18 months, 2 years come along, and I'll see them deliver a session. I'm like, brilliant, never seen that done like that before, or that's a totally new idea. And I pinch that for myself. I love the way that coaching is always evolving. You never know everything. There's always lots and plenty to learn. And I think by embracing that and being ambitious and wanting to learn and committing to that, and realizing that you're part of something bigger, can only help you progress and develop and become the best coach that you can possibly be. Um, this sounds a bit profound here. My actual role, I'll discuss very briefly about how I got involved with SoCal Reds or LA Galaxies they were at the time. So I run a sports coaching organisation over in the UK. I'm actually based in the Midlands in Derby, and I've been running a coaching company for 20 years, going into primary schools, teaching PE and sport, physical activity, after school clubs, PE lessons, that kind of thing. I actually first went to America in 2005 and then did 4 summers and a fall going over there and coaching. Um, and about 7 or 8 years ago, Premier Education, which is my organisation's, my business is a franchise, they were looking to expand and they were looking to replicate what they do over in the UK in other countries. And the US being a lucrative market and a huge opportunity. One of the individuals that actually reached out to us was somebody I'd worked for in America. So long story short, that's how I got involved. So I went over, actually delivered a couple of pilot programs, one in Alabama, one in Oakland near San Francisco. And we were trying to engage partners because the idea was we weren't going to send coaches to the US. We were going to send our programs over and partner with somebody who could deliver our programs. So going into primary schools, teaching PE and sport. At the time, SoCal, a couple of the people were actually from where I'm from Derby. So we met with them. Visions were very much aligned, and we partnered with those. That was actually just before COVID. Um, but in doing that, I spent quite a bit of time out there, and I noticed that they didn't really have anybody recruiting staff. It was very much right. We've got a need, and they would put a job ad out, or they would ask the coaches if they had any friends. But the turnover of staff was quite high because there was nobody actually taking responsibility for recruiting. So I've actually been doing it for about 6 years. But as I said, my role over here, my full-time job is running a sports coaching business, and I actually did some training with my staff last week. And the reason that's all relevant is because I was talking to my staff about the significance of the job of being a coach and how being a coach is so much more than running a bunch of practices. And coaching cannot simply be a job, it must be a vocation, a call into a place that best suits your skills, your passion, and your ability. Now, I am mindful of time. Now, I'm not going to go for too long on this, but I think as a coach, you have to understand and realize the impact you have on young people's lives. So these young children may well have issues with, especially in this generation, with confidence, with their social skills, with self-esteem, communication. There might be lots and lots of things. And when they come to your football sessions, actually, you're their role model. You're the person they look up to more than their teacher, because maybe they don't like school or they struggle at school. And actually, the impact of somebody who is acting as a role model, but is also instilling habits for physically active lives and healthy lifestyles. The implications of that is far and wide reaching. If they come to your practice and they don't enjoy it and they hate football and they give it up and it's the only sport they really enjoyed, again, this sounds really profound, but that might be leading them to a life of inactivity, obesity, health issues. If you inspire these children, they love your sessions and they want to come back. Listen, if you can make them the best player that they can possibly be and they go on to play at a higher level or even become professional, great. But we all know the percentage of children that do that is very, very slim. And actually, that shouldn't be your objective. It should be to deliver sessions that are fun, engaging, inspiring, and having a much farther reaching impact than ultimately making children professional footballers. It should be about providing life experiences, helping them improve their confidence, their social skills, their self-esteem, skills that they can take to their everyday life to become better people, fitter people, healthier people. And I sometimes think that people doing what we do don't recognise what an important and significant role they play. And again, it sounds profound, but you can change lives with a single word, a single pat on the back, and a single conversation that says, I believe in you. Particularly if this is their outlet, this is the thing they enjoy the most in life. So I think it's really, really important. And to do this as a full-time job, working over in the US, and that being what you're doing day in, day out, is a massive opportunity, but something that you really need to understand the significance of your role, particularly being a Brit in the UK. For any of you, sorry, being a Brit in the US. I don't know if any of you have worked in America, but you're literally revered over there. It's bonkers, really. But yeah, in terms of the way you're looked up to and your stature as a football coach and being a font of all knowledge, it's huge. So, bit of a background on the club to give you an indication of their size. 93 competitive club teams, 3,000 recreational players, 1,000 kids in camps and clinics, 10,000 school kids in 3 districts. Got teams that are national champions, and I'm sorry, and taking part, and we've got global partnerships. Very quickly, has anybody, and you can come off mute and speak up, but has anybody worked over in the US before?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, couple of you. Um, So I think it's really, really important just to understand how grassroots, and I use that in inverted commas because that's what we call it, but how their version of grassroots football works. So over here in the UK, my son, 15 years old, for him to play football, it's £200 a year, 250, 25 quid a month. That's subs, ref fees, training, kit, you name it, end of season do, all covered in that 250 quid. I'm a volunteer coach. Obviously, I'm an experienced one, but a lot of them are just dads. Nobody gets paid. In the US, it's completely different. So in the US, bizarrely, it's actually more accessible for wealthy people because children are paying to be part of a team maybe $4,000 to $6,000 a year. So it's very much a different commitment. So it's almost like this opportunity is almost like being a grassroots coach for your under sevens or under nines or under 15s team, whoever it is that you coach, but doing that as a full-time job and getting paid for it, which to me is a bit of a dream job. Um, so that's kind of what it's like. Obviously, it's not that simplistic. It's not like pick it up and drop it in the US and it's exactly the same model. But that's kind of the best example I can give you if you haven't worked in the US. These children are paying a lot because of that. Expectations are quite high from parents. Their level of commitment's huge. They absolutely love it. They'll invite you to the homes, to barbecues. You might have tournaments in Vegas, in San Diego, where you've got to travel, and they are at it like a shot. They love it. They live and they breathe it, but they're paying a lot of money for it. I mean, listen, obviously there's a big debate about America should be better at football, and that is actually because a lot of the children, when I was working in San Francisco, I was teaching Latino kids who were unreal. Asked them if they played for a team. No, because they didn't have any money. They couldn't afford it, which when all you need is a ball and a goal seems a little bit of a shame, but it's why a lot of players get missed. But ultimately, it's why there is this opportunity. Because parents are paying so much, so it creates a business opportunity and it creates full-time coaching opportunities for people like yourselves to go over and coach over in the US. Any questions at all so far? Lovely. Okay, programs we offer. So, becoming a club player, ultimately, that's what I just talked about, where parents are paying a significant chunk of money and they're part of a team and they have a couple of seasons throughout the year and there's a lot of travel involved and fixtures. There are different programs that feed into that. Now the whole progression path would be schools. PEG is Premier Education Group, which is what I do, how I got involved with the club, like I said. So we go into schools and we do school sessions. Um, we also offer clinics and camps. So we might go to a school session, signpost a child to a clinic and camp. They might do well. They might come into our rec program, which is run by volunteer coaches. And it's just really about playing, no real development, no professional coaching. If you're applying for the sports coaching or the football coaching opportunity, they will then progress to our pre-club academy. So the best way of describing that is the pre-club academy is bridging the gap between our recreational players and our club players. So recreational players aren't paying a lot of money. Their sessions are delivered by volunteer coaches. So it might be parents who you've done some training with. So they might still be affiliated to the club, but you're not going to work with those teams week in, week out. You might work with a group of coaches a couple of times a month, and give them ideas to deliver sessions. That's much less of a commitment. There's not a lot of travel. They don't play games. The pre-club academy is the first instance where they become part of a team. They have a kit, they have a coach, yourself, they play matches. They're only friendly matches, but they start to actually have professional coaching, helping them improve as soccer players, improve and develop. The idea is from there they become club players. So this is their entry level. This is also your entry level. Both them and you can progress to become club coaches. But like with anything, kind of the entry level opportunity for coaching is as a pre-club academy. Any of the coaches, well, all of the coaches that stay out there tend to progress to club coaches fairly quickly sometimes. It depends on how well you do and the needs of the club at the time, and the specific needs for coaches. Um, but that is the entry level. So at any of these levels, look, if players are really good, then they can go straight to becoming a club player. But ultimately, that jump in terms of the level of player and the commitment and the cost is significantly more than any of these. Um, pre-club academy is interesting because you'll have players who are unbelievable, doing step overs and rabonas and pinging it in the top corner. You'll also have a kid who's picking his nose, counting the birds in the sky, and some of them are really developed, some of them aren't. It's your job to harness those children that are already developed and help them become club players. And those that aren't so good, just keep them enjoying it, keep them in the system, and keep them at the pre-club academy if that's all that they want to do. And some won't ever want the commitment, or that the parents won't want to commit to becoming a club player. But the idea, obviously, for you and for them is to get to that level. So our recreational schools program, like I mentioned, is the very base level where there's no real level of competition or professional coaching. We've also got days that we run in schools, like taster days, to try and get children along to some of our other events and widen the net a little bit in terms of our catchment. We do lunchtime clubs, breakfast and after school clubs, 6 to 10 week programs in schools, and we also do PE sessions. So some of you might have registered this based on the multi-sports vacancy that we have. So they are slightly different. The football vacancy is kind of the things I've talked about thus far. The multi-sports vacancy is very much kind of what I said I do in primary schools over here, and that was the whole premise of me getting involved to try and replicate what we do in the US. Um, and we have programs where we recruit multi-sports coaches specifically to go into schools and deliver a wide range of sports. So it could be supporting with PE, it could be lunchtime clubs, after school clubs, delivering things like badminton, rugby, hockey, volleyball, table tennis, tennis, handball, cricket, which not just from a perspective of it being a brand new sport to them, but culturally learning about the different countries that play cricket, because obviously it's something that's alien to the majority of them. They've probably never even heard of it. So it's broadening the horizons, but it's not limiting what we do to just football. Now, just to be clear, they are two different roles and they do look different. So the multi-sports coach will be working more so in schools, delivering a range of sports, but will still be supporting during the evenings and at weekends with the soccer coaches. The soccer coaches will be doing predominantly evening and weekend stuff, but will go into schools. Now, they may be doing soccer in schools, but they may be asked occasionally to do the odd multi-sports. Fundamentally, they are the base of the job is different, but there is a bit of crossover. Particularly the multi-sports is school-based, and a lot of the stuff that we'll do is evenings and weekends with the soccer, and so that's where there isn't a great deal of multi-sport coaching to do around that. So that's where the multi-sports coaches will support with the soccer. So our rec program, kids age 5 and younger, generally one session per week with a professional coach, practice and play, and they do 4 week programs that operate year round. The MLS Go is a recent program and a recent partnership we've got with MLS. Again, it adds kudos to what we do. MLS is obviously the national league, so it's adding to our brand and that partnership and that pathway and opportunity for children to develop as well. Just adds to the image of the brand and the professionalism. The pre-club academy and the all stars. So like I say, for you football coaches, this will be the entry level, 6 to 12 year olds, bridging the gap between recreational and club soccer. 100% professional coaching. So for a lot of these children, it's the first time they've actually been coached on how to be a better player, how to be part of a team, how to make decisions, how to play in a certain position. Quality coaching with no win at all cost mentality. So, like I say, when it gets to club, you will find parents that it's not win at all cost, but they're paying money and they think their kid's going to be the next Messi and they do want to win. Pre-club academy, I remember going to watch a game and I think it must have ended 11-10. Nobody even knew what the score was, but it was a proper game. There was a referee. I mean, the coaches refed it, but they had kits. The kids were enjoying it, but it was more about exposing them to that environment and actually being part of a game like situation. Um, Play a grading system, so informing parents of how their children are doing, how they're progressing, what the next step is for them, and that's an in-house program that runs during the fall, i.e., the autumn and the spring. So there's an opportunity for players to develop through the pathways that we offer. Again, it's not something you need to worry about too much, but it's just showing kind of the professionalism, the opportunities, and how we position ourselves with parents in terms of choosing us as a club, because there is a lot of opportunity over there. Again, probably won't be aware, but 90% of the people that you will come across, be it at the club or other clubs over in the US, it's dominated by British people. Absolutely everywhere you go. I was in Alabama coming across British people, San Francisco, Florida. It's dominated by British people who've gone over there to do what you guys are doing ultimately and make a living out of it. Again, an opportunity for you guys to develop as well. Realistic opportunities for you to both develop as a coach, but also to remain in the US long term. So there are guys I literally sent out 6 years ago, my first recruitment phase, that are still there. They're never coming back. Some guys just do the 12 to 18 months of their initial visa and then come back. Some might stay for another year, another couple of years, but there are genuine long-term opportunities. And the opportunities are not just to progress as a coach. If you want to progress within the club, one of the guys that was there when I first went, who was a pre-club academy coach, he's now the director of coaching. And so not just progressed as a coach, but he's progressed in terms of his role within the club, and his responsibility. And obviously, he's a big player at the club now and a full-time fixture, and he's creating a career for himself. And he went over as a pre-club academy coach, which is what I'm recruiting for currently. So, like I say, that really emphasizes the opportunities to stay long term if it is something that you want to do. But if it is something that you just want to go for 12 to 18 months and experience, I can absolutely promise you it will be the best thing that you ever did in your life. Best thing I ever did, and I'm back over in the UK. Sometimes question why, but I mean, unless you go over and for whatever reason it just isn't for you, 90% of the time you go over and it's the greatest experience of your life. So your job functions as a pre-club academy coach. So this is the football side of stuff. Design and deliver sessions to boys and girls. Game day prep, choosing your team, warm-ups, cool down, substitutions, identifying and recruiting talented players, um, feeding back on the performance and progress of players. Again, parents are paying good money and they're fully invested in it, so they want to know. So communication's a really, really big part of that. Letting them know how the child's doing, how they're progressing, letting them know when games are, when training is, and actually you'll find it's really easy to communicate with them because they are so willing. Like I run my lads under 15s football team, and as you can see, I've got no hair because I've pulled it all out, trying to run it and trying to get parents to reply and communicate, and it's frustrating. But over there, they do seem more invested in it. Not sure why. Maybe like I say, it's because of the money they're paying, or because we're British. I don't know, but they just seem to really all buy into it. Um, Junior and mini Reds clinics and camps. Delivering holiday clubs, weekend camps, after school and in school engagement programs. There'll be an element of administration, meetings at the office and that kind of stuff. A lot of the work that you do, if it's in schools, it'll be afternoons and evenings. If it's football, it'll be evenings and weekends with the odd afternoon maybe in a school. But morning time generally will be free, but that's when you might have to do a bit of admin work or you might have a meeting at the office. Um, so this isn't set in stone, but this is in terms of football. This is what your standard week might look like. Now, please don't take this as golden because throughout different periods of the year we run different programs. So in the school holidays, it looks nothing like this because it'll be running camps. There are certain times the pre-club academy is running, there's certain times it isn't running. When it isn't running, you might be supporting with teams. So don't necessarily take it as golden that this is what every week will look like throughout the entire year, but that's roughly what kind of a soccer coach's week will look like. And that's what the multi-sports coaches diary will look like. Again, like I just alluded to, it looks different at different times of years. We will go over this in more detail in terms of A, if you proceed to an interview, and B, if you go beyond that to the recruitment day. So we'll go through this in lots more detail, but it's just to give you a little bit of an idea and indication how it can change throughout the year in terms of the different programs that we run and as and when they tend to run. So, from your perspective, you would be living in a house with the other coaches. You would have to be willing to share a room, but it's not guaranteed that you would have to. What I think in the current house, there's one shared room and then three or four single rooms, and they just tend to rotate. So two people will share for 4 to 6 weeks, and then one person will come out, and then they'll rotate like that. We may be buying another house, and it might be that that's not the case. However, we do need to make you aware that if you do have to, and you get out there, it's like, well, I didn't agree to this. It wouldn't be something that you'd have to do for the entire year, and you might not have to do it at all, but it is something you need to be made aware of that may happen. All your gas is paid for. You'll have access to a car, gas for work purposes. You get statutory holidays throughout the year. Of course, when I was there, people had family come and visit, and they kind of got sessions covered. And stuff like that. But you can't say in the middle of a season or in the middle of a program, I want 2 weeks off in October, I want 2 weeks off in March. It doesn't work like that. You get statutory holidays, but you all have that at the same time. And essentially, the only people you really know there are your colleagues. So you all get the same time off together. So I remember being there and Labor Day weekend going to Vegas or going to the beach at July 4th and that kind of stuff. So you do get holidays that fall as and when they fall throughout the year, but you can't say, I want 2 weeks off in May because I'm going home or I want my family to come and visit. If there's exceptional circumstances and you need to go home, again, that's not necessarily something we'd rule out, but generally holidays are governed by kind of as and when they fall. We would pay for your visa. You just have to pay for your flight. So we're forking out around 3 grand for your visa, your flight, probably going to be 500-600 quid. So you're definitely getting the better end of the deal. Pay, you're looking at about $435 to $460 per week in your pocket. Now, crucially, that is after you've made contributions towards the house. So that is what's left in your pocket. Now, all I can say to you with regards to that is, as I've mentioned, I've been involved with the club 6 years. and there are people that are still involved, still working for the club that were pre-club academy coaches then. So I think that tells you twofold. One, the fact that they were earning enough money then to survive and get by and in Southern California, and it was enough to keep them and maintain them. But also the fact they're still working for the club 6 years down the line tells you they're now earning more because they're now self-sufficient. They're not in the house anymore. But also what a great organisation it is to work for that 6 years down the line and other opportunities have obviously come up in that time that they're still working for the club. What a fantastic club it is to work for. So I don't like this. It sounds a bit aggressive. I've kind of alluded to it and softened it as made it as soft as I could. Are you a person who is willing to live with people you don't know and get on with them? Listen, generally people tend to get on. Of course, you can't force people to get on with each other if they don't get on, but hopefully you'll be professional enough if that is the case for it not to affect your work or your personal life. But generally, the guys that I've been out with, they're all best mates now. They're all best mans at each other's wedding, and literally even some guys who've left the club still stay in touch with them and are still out there and they still go out with them. And but are you willing to share a room? Like I said, hopefully wouldn't be the case, but we need to make you aware that it may be. Willing to be, sorry, willing to be away from family, Christmas and key times. That's something you do need to consider. I've had people turn the job down on that basis before. Has a can-do and will-do attitude. Is prepared to work hard for an opportunity to progress, even if it takes an entire year. Is prepared to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, set up fields and goals, and be there till the last player leaves. Prepared for manual work in support of their programs as well as coaching work. Adaptable and understands the need for flexibility. Willing to go the extra mile and be the best version of themselves, and is a team player on and off the field. So, listen, like I said, the whole purpose of this was to give you an idea about the job and the opportunity. We have got 2.5 minutes left. I've timed that well. Normally, I don't quite have that long. Next stage of the process, if you are interested, email me, reply to the email that I sent this link via to just say, yeah, really keen to find out more and go to the interview stage. That will be a Zoom interview with myself, take about 20 to 25 minutes. And if at that stage you still want to proceed, and obviously I'm happy in terms of how you come across in the interview, you'd be invited to an induction day, which is the date escapes me, which is based in the Midlands in Derby at the beginning of November, with a view to starting in February. So yeah, if you are interested, email me to that effect. Just send me a copy of your full CV because I also need to send it to the visa guy just to make sure you are definitely eligible, and just stipulate whether it's multi-sports or football that you are most interested in. So that's the next stage. Have got a couple of minutes. Has anybody got any questions at all before we go? Yeah, go for it.
Uh, yeah, I'll be up front. I'm applying for the multi-sport
Okay.
role. And obviously that's tied with schools. Would that be attached to one school or is it different schools, different days type
Yeah,
thing?
no, you'd be in a range of different schools. You'd obviously get a timetable and a schedule, and you would work in different schools on different days. But they'd all be within the same school district.
Okay, cool. That's all from me.
Yeah, yeah,
Hi James, can I just ask, this is for the February recruitment, is that right?
that's right, mate. Yeah,
Is is there also the August intake as well, or is that a little bit
yeah,
later on?
yeah. I mean, you can come along to the recruitment day, and I mean, if somebody impresses, we can look to the August recruitment day. But obviously, fundamentally, we need to get those February dates, February vacancies filled initially.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Thanks.
Yeah. Right, it's going to cut off in a minute because the 40 minutes that I get freeze ran out. So if you think of anything else, feel free to email me. Other than that, guys, really, really appreciate your time. I hope to hear from plenty of you. If it's not for you, then I appreciate your time regardless, and good luck with the future. But hopefully look forward to hearing from plenty of you, and hopefully meeting you soon over a Zoom interview and talking about the next stage of the process. Lovely. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. Take care. See you later.